Yo, what is going on, everybody? And as you might have guessed by the title, we're going to be covering the Paris Prime bow today in our budget build series. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the weapon. Now, the Paris Prime is a bow that deals primarily puncture damage. It does have a base damage of 200 on charged shots and only 100 on non-charged shots. It does have a nice 45% chance to crit, which can bring you over that 100% chance to crit ratio, or threshold, when you throw on a crit chance mod. So of course we're going to have that in the build. Now, in comparison to its stalker variant, the Dread, the Paris Prime does puncture damage as opposed to slash damage like the Dread, and does have a slightly lower crit chance, but other than that, the two bows are very, very similar. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about build. Now you will see at the top that I have one forma on this weapon, and the one forma that I added was this V polarity over here, so I'm just not going to use this slot. As you can see, I don't really need to since I'm already used up 60 of my mod slots here. Of course, we want to have split chamber on for multi-shot. It's going to give us extra damage, and if the first arrow doesn't kill the target, then the second one definitely will. Going to have toxin damage with infected clip. Point strike, of course, going to bring us over that 100% chance to crit, allowing us to have a 12.5% chance of red critting. Serration for base damage addition. High voltage, which was sold by Tier last time he was here, is going to give us some electricity as well as a little bit more status chance to give us a total of corrosive damage because of the toxin plus electricity. Speed trigger is going to help us with our charge rate so it's not so slow. Bring the 1 second charge rate all the way down to 0.45 second charge rate. And Vital Sense is going to add us some critical damage so that our crits are going to be hitting harder than ever. Now, talking a little bit about my personal choices for this build, of course high voltage isn't a mod that everyone's going to have, especially in sort of a budget build kind of idea. So of course, if you have 7 mod slots left, you can throw on other things, because of course high voltage is a bit of a rarer mod, and it's only sold by Tier and in high-end infested hive missions. You can also throw on the other ones, the other status and the other status chance elemental mods like Malignant Force or Thermite Rounds, or even anything else that will just fit into your build, of course. I just decided to throw on high voltage because I have it and it fits the slot perfectly. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the gameplay. Now, because my RNG is absolutely shit and I mentioned the stalker's name, of course the bastard had to go and show up during my gameplay while I was trying to show off this Paris Prime. So he gave me a little bit of trouble. Definitely recommend you don't try and take on the stalker with only a bow. And to make matters worse, of course, because this is a void survival mission, Corrupted Vor went and showed up at the same time, of course, so I had to be trying to fight both of them with my Paris Prime. So I did end up having to switch to Exalted Blade, as you'll see a little bit here in the gameplay. But that issue was resolved, and the rest of the gameplay should be showing off mostly the Paris Prime. Talking a bit more about the bow itself, the bow is a Mastery Rank 4 weapon, so you will need to be Mastery Rank 4 minimum in order to build this weapon. And of course, its parts do come from various relic loot tables. I'll put the link to the Warframe wiki in the description because it would just be too long of a list if I were to include every single relic that this weapon's parts are listed in. Because, well, this is probably one of the easiest farmable prime weapons in the entire game. Talking more about the Paris Prime and its function in-game, of course it is a bow, so it does have charge rate, and as well as it firing a projectile, so it's not going to be like your standard hit scan bullet weapons, meaning it does have drop-off at range. You're going to have to aim a little bit higher, and of course if a target is moving, you're going to have to be leading your target to hit them. The nice thing about it being a bow is that charge shots do have natural innate punch through, meaning if enemies are standing next to each other or in a line, you are going to be able to hit both of them at the same time as long as you have a charged shot. And as you can see by this footage, I am using the Excalibur Warframe simply for his crowd control effect of the radio blind. It is important to be using a Warframe with a crowd control effect such as Excalibur or Volt or any other frame that has a CC in their kit, because nobody likes trying to hit a moving target with a bow. As a newer player, I never really did give the Paris Prime a fair chance over the Dread. I always just saw the Dread as better since it did have a higher crit chance. And the same base damage. There wasn't really a difference besides that crit chance, so I always saw the Dread as a better weapon. But of course now I'm going to be using the Paris Prime a little bit more. I'm going to be throwing a few more Forma on it since I did just recently get a really nice Riven mod for it. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about this weapon. It's a pretty nice bow, very comparable to the Dread for sure. Yeah. As always, be sure to leave me a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found this video helpful. Your support is very helpful to me. Leave a comment of what weapon or frame you would like to see me cover next in this budget build series. Yeah, enjoy the rest of the gameplay, and thank you very much for watching.